Okay, so I switched around the camera just so that way you could see where my right hand is, okay, because this is probably where I see a lot of beginner or just casual bass players making a lot of mistakes, and what they do is they either fumble around with the timing, or they miss strings, or they end up giving themselves blisters or really hurting their hands, okay? So first of all, there's three different kinds of strings you can play. You can either play nylons, guts, or steels. A lot of bluegrass bass players prefer steels just because of the thump that you can get out of them. They usually give you a nice bit of sustain and quite a bit of volume, okay? But the next thing to worry about is if you have really big hands for playing bass, you probably want a good anchor point when it comes to playing. So just to be consistent with your pull, which we usually play with our index finger, okay? Some people will play with their middle, and that's okay too. But you want a good anchor. Now, the anchor that I've always gravitated to, I gotta flip this guy around here, is actually putting my thumb over here on the underside of this fingerboard. And you can see over the years on this one where this has been happening probably for 60, 70 years, and you can see the little belly mark right here where it's been leaning on you for all this time. So definitely a bluegrasser who had this before us. But anyway, what I'm doing is I'm just hooking my thumb down here. It's just right there on the knuckle, and that's my anchor point. I can reach all the way across. I can come back if I just open my hand up a little bit, or I'm sorry, if I fold my hand, I can come back and I can hit the fourth string, third string, second string, first string, okay? But one of the classic mistakes that a lot of people do with their right hand is they will play with their fingertip. Okay, so they're used to playing electric bass where it's playing, straight up, and you just kind of thump it right off and you just snap it off the tip of your finger. If you do that with this guy, it's going to tear your hands up, and you're going to end up with blisters, and maybe the blisters are going to pop, and you're going to be hurting for a few days. So what I was told is the old school trick, or like my dad, who learned a lot from Ed Ferris, is you do not want to play off this finger tip, okay? What you want to do is you want to play off this side knuckle right here. And if you see a lot of really, really old-timey bluegrass bass players, they usually have a crooked finger for all these years. Yeah, you can probably, I'd imagine Jack Cook's was probably about that far off. Mine's starting to get there, but I'm not going to blame bass playing. I'm just going to blame other shop tools and things. So when it comes to what you're looking for is to get a good snap off of that side knuckle right there. And it's going to take you a little bit of work, okay? It's going to take a little bit of practice, and when I don't play bass all that much, I usually have to practice for a few days to make sure I get a good pull. Because if you work off your fingertip, it's going to start to hurt, and then you're going to get a blister, and then now you're distracted. Okay, so if you play off this knuckle, you'll be able to play for hours before you even start to feel it. Okay, what you're looking for is just that bone inside of that knuckle right there, and that's what you want to hook that string on. You want to pull it, and then you'll figure out exactly where that release snap is, and that's how you get a nice good snap. Okay, if I play a few off my fingertip, it's going to sound soft. Okay, but if I play off the knuckle, I can really, really pop right on that perfect timing, because everybody's relying on our timing. Okay, so you have to be really, really on top of it to be a good bass player. So just make sure you lined up perfectly with that string. You want to hook that knuckle in there and then just drag it right across, and you'll find that release point exactly where it should be. Okay, now just to run through a G, you want to play 1 and 5, right? So we want to go, there we go. So we want to go 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. And I'm just playing the first two strings, G, D, G, D. And you can play plenty quick as much as you want. You can play as quick as any record from the 40s. probably thinking I've seen bass players, they do cool things where they do like a double pull. And there's a way to do that too. And you might have to borrow your fingertip off your middle finger for that, but that's another video. Okay, so if you're playing bass, make sure you got a good anchor point if you have larger hands, and then also make sure you hook that knuckle so that way you can play longer.